The art of silence in a busy world. I wonder what you understand when you hear this, but don't worry, you'll understand everything perfectly by the end of the video. I want you to take a moment and think about your typical day. What does it look like? If you're like most of us, it's probably a long list of things to do. Wake up, check your phone, get ready for work, rush through traffic, attend meetings, answer emails, and meet deadlines. Then you come home, and the second shift begins, making dinner, cleaning up, maybe trying to squeeze in an hour of exercise or time with your family before you fall into bed, just to do it all over again the next day. We live in a world that celebrates being busy. We see hustle culture everywhere online. The message is clear: if you're not constantly working, moving, and achieving, you're falling behind. We even feel guilty when we sit down for just 10 minutes. We think, oh, I could be folding the laundry, or I should be planning my week. Being productive feels like the most important thing. But what if I told you that one of the most productive things you can do is to be unproductive? What if the secret to feeling more creative, more rested, and more in control isn't about doing more, but about intentionally choosing to do nothing? It sounds a little strange, right? We've been taught our whole lives that our value comes from what we produce. But today, I want to explore the art of doing nothing, and why it might be the most important skill you're not practicing. But what happens next might surprise you. Let's talk about what happens to our brains when we are constantly on the go. Imagine your brain is a computer with way too many tabs open. When you have 50 tabs running all at once, everything starts to slow down. The computer gets hot, the fan gets loud, and eventually, it might just freeze or crash completely. You can't focus on any single tab properly because your attention is split in too many directions. That is exactly what our brain feels like when it's always busy. When we jump from one task to the next without any real breaks, we operate in a state of constant, low-level stress. We're always in problem-solving mode, always on. And while that might feel productive for a short time, over the long term, it leads to burnout. It also hurts our creativity, because new ideas don't usually appear when you're rushing to finish a task. They come in the quiet moments in between. Think about it, when do your best ideas come to you? For many people, it's in the shower, on a long walk, or right before they fall asleep. It's almost never when you're sitting at a desk, staring at a blank page, and trying to force an idea to come. That's because these doing nothing moments allow our brains to switch into a different mode. There's actually a name for this. It's called the default mode network. This is a network in our brain that becomes active when we aren't focused on the outside world. When we let our minds wander, this network lights up and starts to connect old memories and ideas in new ways. It's where our imagination, our long-term planning, and even our sense of who we are comes from. When we are busy all the time, we are basically keeping this incredibly powerful part of our brain switched off. You might not expect what comes after this. So, we can see that non-stop busyness isn't very good for us. But there's another, deeper reason why we keep ourselves so busy. Sometimes, we use busyness as a way to avoid our own feelings. Have you ever had a really busy day where you felt completely exhausted at the end, but you couldn't point to anything meaningful that you accomplished? You were just busy. This is something many of us do. We fill our time with small, unimportant tasks so that we don't have to face the bigger, more difficult questions in our lives. Questions like, am I happy in my job? Or is this relationship right for me? Or what do I really want to do with my life? These are big, scary questions, and they don't have easy answers. So, instead of sitting with the discomfort of not knowing, we check our email for the 10th time. We scroll through social media. We organize a bookshelf that doesn't need organizing. We use busyness as a shield. Doing nothing forces us to sit with ourselves, with our own thoughts. And that can be uncomfortable at first. When you remove all the distractions, you have to listen to that quiet voice inside your head. You have to face the things you've been pushing away. This next part is something we all do. We do it because we are not used to the silence. Our modern world is designed to keep us distracted. We have notifications, endless news feeds, and a constant stream of information fighting for our attention. Silence can feel empty. But it's in that empty space that we can finally start to hear ourselves again. So, how do we start? How do we practice the art of doing nothing in a world that wants us to do everything? The good news is, you don't need to go on a long retreat to feel the benefits. You can start small. In fact, starting small is the best way to build any new habit. The goal isn't to suddenly have hours of free time. The goal is to introduce small moments of intentional nothingness into your day. Think of them as little pauses or mental resets. For example, you could try scheduling 5 or 10 minutes in your calendar to do nothing. Find a comfortable place to sit, and you just sit. You don't try to meditate, you don't listen to music, and you definitely don't look at your phone. You just look out the window, watch the clouds, or simply notice the feeling of your feet on the floor. But what happens next is interesting. At first, your brain will probably fight you on this. It will say, "This is boring. You should be doing something." It will remind you of all the tasks on your to-do list. That's perfectly normal. The practice isn't about having a completely empty mind. The practice is about noticing that your mind is busy, and then gently letting the thoughts go without following them down a rabbit hole. You just observe them, like clouds passing in the sky. Another simple way to practice this is to use the small gaps that already exist in your day. For instance, when you're waiting for your coffee to brew. Instead of grabbing your phone to check social media, just stand there for a minute. Listen to the sound of the machine. Feel the warmth of the cup in your hands. It's only a minute or two, but it's a powerful moment of quiet presence. You can do this while waiting in line at the grocery store. Or when you first get into your car, before you turn on the radio or the GPS. These are what you could call micro moments of nothing. They don't add any time to your busy schedule, but they can completely change the quality of your day. This is because you are changing your mindset. You are starting to see these moments not as wasted time, but as essential recovery time. Think about athletes. They know that rest days are just as important as training days. Your muscles don't get stronger while you are lifting weights, they get stronger when they are recovering afterwards. Our brain works the same way. It needs downtime to process information, make new connections, and recharge its ability to focus. I actually tried a little experiment myself a few months ago. I was feeling incredibly burned out. I felt like I was working all the time but getting nothing important done. My creativity was gone. So, I decided to schedule 15 minutes of do-nothing time into my lunch break every single day. The first few days were honestly frustrating. I just sat on a park bench, and my mind was racing with all the things I should be doing. I felt guilty and I couldn't sit still. But what happens next might surprise you. But I stuck with it. And around the 5th day, something changed. I started to actually look forward to my 15 minutes of nothing. I began noticing small things I had never seen before, the way the leaves moved in the wind, the different kinds of birds that flew by. My mind started to quiet down without me forcing it. And the amazing thing was, in the afternoons, I was so much more focused at work. I was finishing my tasks faster and with less stress. And ideas started coming to me again, not during my nothing time, but later, when I was working on something else. It was like that 15-minute pause was giving my brain the space it needed to reset and recharge. It really proved to me that doing less can actually help you achieve more. This isn't about being lazy. It's about being smart. It's about working with our brains, not against them. We are not machines. We can't operate at 100% capacity, 100% of the time. We need to embrace a natural rhythm of effort and rest. So, I want to give you a small challenge for this week. Find one small way to practice doing nothing. Maybe it's 5 minutes in the morning before you grab your phone. Maybe it's leaving your headphones at home when you go for a walk. Just find one small window of time where you can let go of the pressure to be productive. You might not expect what comes after this, and remember, don't judge yourself. If your mind wanders, that's okay. If you feel bored, that's okay, too. The only goal is to create the space. To sit with the quiet and just see what happens. You are unlearning the unhealthy habit of constant busyness and learning the beautiful skill of intentional rest. This practice can do more than just make you feel more rested and creative. It can help you reconnect with yourself. When you strip away all the tasks, the distractions, and the noise, what's left is you. You get a chance to check in with how you're really feeling. You get a chance to ask yourself what you truly need. In our noisy, fast-paced world, giving yourself the space to simply be might be the greatest gift of all. So, the question I'll leave you with is this: where can you find 5 minutes today to do absolutely nothing? Pause. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this talk has given you some time to reflect and maybe even a little permission to not be so busy. Don't forget that I love you very much. This video is a motivational video, so if you want to feel inspired, watch this video, and don't forget that I'm always by your side.